What's up, everyone? I am Symone Stanley, and this is HBCU Game Day. Today, I'm excited to be joined by former Penn Quaker, now Bethune-Cookman University Wildcat, Jaydon Hodge. Jaydon, thank you so much.
Symone, thank you for inviting me out to this Zoom.
Of course. So, Jaydon, I have to ask you, I think this is a burning question, at least for me. I don't know about our listeners, but your nickname is Hodge Sauce. First of all, it's a perfect nickname, but who gave it to you? Where did that nickname come from?
Yeah, so in Little League, it was in eighth grade. We were in the playoffs, and believe it or not, I was a running back. I was a little long, lanky running back, about taller than everybody in the eighth grade. So it was the last play. It was a 2-point conversion. They hit me with a 38 toss on the outside, and I had like two people on my back, and I drug them into the end zone, and I scored. And then the coach looked at me. He was like, "Hey, Sauce, that's Sauce." So we stuck with the Hodge Sauce name from then on out. So it kind of stuck with me until now.
I love it. Like I said, perfect nickname. So you're a Florida boy. You're going to be going back to Florida with the Wildcats. What was it like growing up playing high school and Little League football in Florida?
Right. It was definitely a lot of competition. I would tell you that competition week in and week out. You know, it was something that I missed. So when Coach Sims, saw me in the portal, and Coach Hayes saw me in the portal, and they gave me that call, and they asked if I was on board, and I said, "Yeah, I'm on board. Let's come back home." So just coming back to Florida with the Florida environment, seeing beaches now, almost every day. We're 2 miles away from the beach, and I'm only an hour away from home. So that's a plus for me. So I just miss that Florida atmosphere. I miss the competition week in and week out, and I'm ready to come compete.
What made you originally commit to Penn out of high school?
Yeah, so the education was beyond measures. I mean, you have a 9% acceptance rate. The connections that you can make in the Ivy League are unbelievable, unimaginable, right? I was only up there for about a month, but I still made a lot of connections throughout my process, from signing day until I left. And I still have those connections now. So it really boiled down to connections and the opportunities that you can get at an institution like Penn.
So at what point did you realize that you wanted to reopen your recruitment?
Yeah, when I was there for a little bit, I was like, wow, it's a different type of environment up here, up north. It's Philadelphia. Obviously it's eye opening. It's different from Florida in a whole bunch of ways. Some ways that I can't even explain. You know, so at that moment, it took a lot of prayer. A lot of thoughts, a lot of conversations with my parents, my aunties, uncles, coaches from high school. But when it boiled down to it, I felt like it was best for me to, open back up our process, enter the portal, and explore my options to see what came to.
So it was a culture shock, basically.
Yeah, it definitely was. It definitely was.
Florida is definitely a long way from Pennsylvania, so I could definitely see what you're talking about there. So when you open your recruitment, what other programs were you considering besides Bethune-Cookman?
Yeah, so I talked to Alcorn State, I talked to Florida A&M, and I also talked to McNeese, and Murray State as well. They were all in play. But when it boiled down to it, I was like, just growing up watching the Classic every year, right? You hear about FAMU and you hear about Bethune-Cookman, but my aunties and some of my cousins graduated from Bethune, right? So it was an automatic no-brainer, talking to them and everything, that it was only right, hour away from the house. Anytime I want to come through for the homecoming, you hit the Classic every year. This year, playing Jackson State and Jacksonville. So, all of those components were a big factor coming into it. So at the end of the day, I chose BCU, and we're rocking with it.
We rocking with it. I love it. So how do you see yourself having an instant impact on the defense for
Right,
Bethune-Cookman?
right. I see myself having a great impact. Still adjusting. I have to learn the playbook, of course. I came on board a little late, but it's nothing to soak in all that knowledge. Look at the playbook, study it day in, day out. But all that's easy. But we just have to show it on the field now. Time to compete. There's been people here before me, weeks before me, months before me. Some even enrolled in June. So they earned their spots, they earn their rights. But at the end of the day, we come to compete. We're trying to make an immediate impact and do whatever it takes to bring that old tradition and culture back to the Wildcat Nation, and back to the Wildcat program.
I love it. You sound like a perfect representation. Sound like a promo for
Right.
the Wildcats.
Right.
So what has you fired up about this season? What's the message that Coach Sims and the staff is preaching to the team that has y'all ready and fired up for the football season?
Yeah, most definitely. The message that Coach Sams is talking is, last season did not show a good representation of Wildcat football. We started late, young team. COVID affected us bad. 2-9 definitely was not the Wildcat way. Y'all know it wasn't the Wildcat way. You guys are used to seeing Bethune have a winning tradition and culture around here. So definitely day in and day out, the boys are working. Everybody's on one accord. All the coaches are like-minded. They have a new offensive coordinator and Mike Canales, who was at Tennessee. He was at the University of North Texas. So he knows the stuff. Coach Hayes, he's still in the game. He's not a defensive coordinator here. Keeping that strong defensive game and defensive mind with the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. So, they're just preaching. Last year was a fluke. Last year wasn't us, right? Everybody wants to talk about the highs and the highs of Jackson State and Florida A&M. Everybody wants to talk about the lows of Bethune-Cookman and, other universities, right? We're not going to let one season define us at all. That's not who we are. And we'll show that this season is different. It's definitely different. We have kind of a chip on our shoulder to prove that last year was a fluke. And you're going to see that old Bethune-Cookman Wildcats come back.
Wow, you got me ready to sign up. Ready to try out.
Come on.
Okay, so before I let you go, Jaydon, can you take the shades off for a second so when they see you on the field, they know,
right.
Okay, they can ID you. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Okay,
right.
Okay. All right, you can put the shades back on. They just didn't see what you look like over here. Yeah, so lastly, what game do you have circled on your calendar, if any game?
Oh, man. I could easily say Miami. That's a big one. We open up against them on September 3rd. But I think, just for the whole Wildcat family and the whole Wildcat Nation, as well as the program and everybody here on campus, is definitely has to be the Florida Classic, like every year. We lost first time in 10 years, right? We were on a nine-year winning streak, and FAMU came in, beat us this year. But, it's nothing to get back to it. Like I said, last year was a little fluke, and, we'll get back to it in no time. Keep doing the hard work that we're doing, in the weight room as well on the field, mentally. And, keep that team chemistry that we have. And it's amazing. The team chemistry here is amazing. So I definitely think we're going to get to rocking. The game we have circled is Florida A&M. We can't wait till November 19th.
Hodge Sauce. I love it. Drops mic.